Benny, Kaizer Chiefs fans have been worried about the number of chances that the team is creating. And a few days back, Opta Jabu released a top 5 of the players who have created most chances. These are not Kaizer Chiefs players, but they are linked with the move to Kaizer Chiefs. And we're going to talk about all these 5 players, the number of chances they've created, their contracts with their team, and whether it would be easy to get them. Starting with number 5, and that is Ulai Lakay. And we know Ulai Lakay apparently was open to coming to Kaizer Chiefs beginning of the season, but he still had a contract with Sundowns, and Sundowns were not going to allow him to come to Kaizer Chiefs. But then, just like what happened with Erasmus, he still had a contract with Pirates, but Sundowns were not, with Sundowns, I mean, but Sundowns were not going to allow that player to go to Kaizer Chiefs. So on the last minute, when Erasmus decided, fine, I'm going to Pirates, then they were able to let him go. Same thing right now with Ulai Lakay. He still had something that to do with Sundowns, and Sundowns were not letting him come to Kaizer Chiefs, and then ended up going to SuperSport, and now he's contracted with SuperSport. Now, Ulai Lakay has created 24 chances, and in those 24 chances that he created, he's assisted 3 of them, and he has scored 2 goals. The problem, though, with Ulai Lakay is his age. He's turning 33 in August, and really signing him to compete with Usfiso Hlanti, even though we're looking at the left backs we have, we're looking at Udove, we're looking at Hlanti, and we're saying, both of these guys are old, and you can see that now they're getting a lot of injuries and they're not sprinting forward as much as would like. So that kind of leaves that thing, and it makes it a bit problematic. But it's definitely a signing that if Kaizer Chiefs tried enough, maybe they should have gotten in this last transfer window, because he would have definitely done much better than what Usfiso Hlanti is subjecting us to. Number 4 is Urian Hanamub, which is interesting once again, because now Urian Hanamub is another left back. And interestingly enough, he's actually the one who's being linked with Kaizer Chiefs more than Upasadin, because Kaizer Chiefs are linked with signing Upasadin from Stellenbosch or signing Hanamub from Amazulu. And the suggestion from Ofa Post is that Kaizer Chiefs are leaning more towards signing Hanamub, which would mean would see one of the Kaizer Chiefs foreign players leaving the team in order to accommodate to Hanamub. And Hanamub himself, he has created 25 chances so far this season. He's only assisted twice though, and his contract with Amazulu ends right now, well, not right now, in June 2024, but Amazulu have an option to extend the contract by a further year. So it's not that tricky, because it's just one more year. It's not like he has 2 years in his contract. So if they negotiate, I'm sure they can come into some sort of agreement. But you never know. I always say that there are some deals that are done that we're not told about, because Umtaga, the first team that went to Amazulu. So I wonder how that is going to affect the relationship between Chiefs and Amazulu, because these players, Abomtaga, Nobo Ditechane ended up going to what's the name of the team, TS Galaxy. They refused to be ball boys, and then they ended up getting fired by Kaizer Chiefs. And they first went to those teams, which means there were already talks behind the scenes with those teams. So maybe Chiefs doesn't trust Amazulu with negotiating in good faith, because they would think that these guys went behind their backs. Not to also mention the fact that Kaizer Chiefs signed Usia Temba Stebe on a pre-contract, and Amazulu didn't like that. So now it's a question of, do these guys trust each other? Can they sit down on the table and negotiate something for a player? That's something that always bothers me and makes me panic, because I know that Chiefs these days, or in the past few years, there's been some talks that they don't have good relationships with these other PSL teams. So I hope it's not that type of a thing again, and I hope that they can come to some sort of agreement, because Hanamub is 28 and he can still give us some years. And look, 25 assists, 25 chances created. That's very good from a left back, not to mention he's a left back, and we're lacking from that area. Let's go to number 3. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this video so far, do the right thing. Let's like the video. Let's do the following. Let's do the subscribing. All the nice things, Now, number 3 is Oswin Apolis. I don't know if I'm saying Oswin or Oswin. Oswin Apolis, who's playing for Polokwane City. And Apolis is the one who a lot of people have been getting excited about, because he is an attacking midfielder for one, and that's the area that most people are expecting creativity to come from. But what you get with him as well is the fact that he's also a winger, so he's versatile. If you want to play Mshini there, you can play Mshini there. If you are subbing a winger and you want to add to Mshini in the second half, if you had started with Apolis, you play Apolis wide. If he's sitting on the bench, that means if he comes in, he can come on as an attacking midfielder, he can come on as a winger. We need versatility in modern football. And he also has assisted 25 times. Not assisted. He has created 25 chances so far this season. The problem with Apolis's contract is that it expires in 2026. And that's a long time. And that means Polokwane City, they have grounds. They can just say, yeah, we have the player for 2 more years. Like, it's not even, it expires in 2025. No, it expires in 2026. And also, they have an option to extend. And Apolis doesn't have any reason to panic, really, because he's only 22 years old. So he's not really, he will not be trying to push for a move to another team. That depends, though, on how ambitious he is, because if he wants to play abroad at some point, then making a move to a team like Chiefs, Pirates or Sundowns, especially Chiefs, would be a good idea to do it now. Why is that? Because he plays 1-2 more years, and then at 24 he gets his big money move to a team in Europe, Belgium, somewhere, or in South America. But when I say Europe, Belgium, I mean because most players in South Africa usually move to Belgium, which is in Europe. Or he can go to MLS like other players have been doing and get his move from there to Europe. So it's going to depend on the player. It's going to depend on the financial situation of Polokwane City. One of the advantages that Abo Chiefs, Sundowns and Pirates have in South African football is the fact that they actually have teams who don't have sponsors, and ama income streams are not so great. So their main income stream is selling players. So that's the thing that we can hope for, that after the season, he hopefully continues with his form or Apolis, and then Polokwane says, you know what, we need money to compete, let's sell our best players so that we can recruit 2 or 3 more good players who are going to replace him. That's the advantage that we have. He also has 4 goals, 1 assist in 15 games. Not bad. So, yeah. Moving on to number 2. Number 2 is the Cape Town City man, Utawin Gonzalez, a Venezuelan. I look at this, I didn't know that he was from Venezuela. I think I never really, did much. Because this is a Gonzalez, but not the Gonzalez that we have. Not the Gonzalez from... Konju Gonzalez wethu wakupi? Sengikhohliwe. He is from South America, but in another country. Which country? Anyways, Darwin Gonzalez is playing for Cape Town City. He's a left winger. 1 goal and 3 assists in 15 games. So he's a left winger and he's 29. You know why I'm reading this thing here? Because I've never really watched a lot of Cape Town City games. And also in my head, I know that the problem with a player who's playing for Cape Town City is that it's very rare that they end up playing for Chiefs. I know Mtutuzi Mdantsane is playing for Kaizer Chiefs, but look at the hoops that Chiefs had to jump through for the move to happen. In January, Chiefs tried to sign him last season. They tried to sign him and the deal was almost over the line, and then apparently there was a deal or an option to extend by Cape Town City. So Chiefs ended up signing him in June because, well, Cape Town City were smart to the movements the Chiefs were trying to make. Either way, I think it's going to be tricky to get this player. And also, for him as a 29-year-old foreign player coming to Kaizer Chiefs, we are looking at signing Ohana Moop, who's going to take a foreign spot. If we sign him as well, now that means we must get rid of another foreigner, which I don't think would make any sense. Right now, in this list so far, I will tell you when after I talk about this last person, who I think is realistically going to sign for Chiefs. Because we go to number 1, and there is Usanele Pans. And it's impressive, right? Indaba Usanele Pans is really impressive to me because think about it. He's playing for Richards Bay. Richards Bay are poor this season. And they've ended up firing their coach. They've been poor since last season. In fact, they started well and then something just went wrong. And then they've been just surviving. And now they have a good coach. That means Usanele Pans is going to do even much better. And playing for a team that has been underperforming to have most chances created, it says a lot about the player's ability. Because he's created 36 chances. Utawin Gonzalez has created 30. And he has created 36. Playing for the team. And he's also playing as a right winger. He has scored 3 goals and he's assisted 3 times. And the other chances that he was creating that people didn't score, you just think of how much our strikers would appreciate that. And I know some people will say, Panpilo, you talked about Barnes and you said you don't think it would make a good idea coming to Kaizer Chiefs. Well, what I will say about that is the fact that numbers don't lie, guys, because chances are chances. It's not about me talking about how many chances or how many goals he has scored or has missed, but it's how much he's contributing to the team, right? Because the other thing also, I have to admit, when I was wrong in reviewing the situation, then I look at it again and I realize that might have been wrong first time. So now I come back and say I was wrong. Because think about it. One thing that we've seen with our players that a lot of you guys have been saying is that they've become so selfish. Sometimes Dupree has the ball and Nanguranga, he can play cutback. Dupree will try to shoot with his left foot. I'm not saying he sucks, he should be benched forever. No, I'm saying our players have this tendency that they've become even more selfish, and I don't know where they're taking this from, or maybe it's also desperation. Dupree wants to score, and it's not just him. You have Usaile, instead of rolling the back across to Gonzalez, he tries to shoot instead of passing the ball. So a person who's creating so many chances for their team might be worth looking at. The problem also is that we don't know when his contract ends, but we do know that it was signed in 2022. So usually teams give these players 3-year contracts. So we might be looking at a contract that is expiring next year, which means end of the season, if we're still not pleased with our winger situation, we can always go for him. But who do I realistically think Kaizer Chiefs will sign, and who do I want them to sign? Well, so far, based on numbers and the need that we have, I think the priority should be Uhana because he's playing for Amazulu, he's a left back, and we need a left back. And then we can talk about Usanele Barnes at some point. And Apoli's contract here, okay, I would say what I would want for Apolis is one more season, maybe. One more season. The problem got with that is the fact that he will end up being in Sundowns' radar more than he is right now. And if you've seen Bafana, for those who watch Bafana, because I know some of you don't care, Uthemba Zwane, he doesn't usually get substituted, but Bafana because Bruce, after sidelining Uzwane for a long time, he realized that he needs Uzwane. But even when he does sub Uzwane, the only player who goes in the position Gathemba Zwane is actually Uapolis. If he continues doing that in the AFCON games, then that means the Sundowns will look at him and say, this is a potential successor to Themba Zwane, and they might actually take him to Sundowns. So that's a risk of letting him stay with Polokwane City this season. Because my idea is let him play another good season at Polokwane City and then bring him on to Chiefs. But the problem is if he stays another season, there's a possibility that he renews a contract, one, and number two, there's a possibility that he gets even better. And if he gets even better, the price tag goes higher, or Sundowns just goes in and they swoop him in. So if the Kaizer Chiefs have identified and have seen that they like everything about Apolis, then by all means go for him. But for now, I would say if there is anything that needs to be done, it would be trying by all means to get Uhana. Who do you think Kaizer Chiefs should get from this list? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelu Moya.